Picture this. Screen door slamming. The ice cream truck's bell echoing down Elm Line streets at exactly 4 p.m. Same time every day. Sheets drying on clotheslines, snapping the wind like flags. This was late August, 1968. The last breath of summer before school started, before everything changed. And life, complicated as it sometimes felt then, was easier, not better, not perfect, just easier. There were no passwords to remember, no notifications. No one expected you to answer immediately or even that day. Time moved differently, slower, deeper, and somehow that slowness gave you room to breathe, room to be bored, room to be human. Let's go back to that last week of summer, when the fall fair was coming, and the whole town moved to a rhythm we've forgotten how to dance to. Mornings without urgency. The milkman's truck, engine purring, bottles clinking in their metal crates. He knew your family, knew exactly how many bottles to leave. 2% for the kids, cream for your dad's coffee, chocolate milk on Saturdays if your mom left a note. The paper boy on his bicycle, canvas bag heavy with a morning edition. He'd been doing this route since he was 12, knew which porches to avoid because the boards creaked, which dogs barked, which houses tipped at Christmas. Mornings belonged to you. No one could reach you. No emails. No texts. No urgent anything. Your dad left for work at the same time every day. Your mom had breakfast on the table at the same time every morning. Eggs and toast. Oatmeal in winter. Routine wasn't boring. It was comforting, predictable, safe. The radio playing softly. Local AM station. News. Weather. Crop reports for farmers 50 miles away. The one phone in the house, attached to the kitchen wall, with a cord that stretched maybe 6 feet. When it rang, you answered. Henderson residence. Polite. Formal. The way you were taught. Your mom planning the week's meals based on what was on sale at Dominion. Monday was leftover roast. Tuesday was hamburger helper. Wednesday was chicken. She'd clip coupons from the newspaper, organize them in an old recipe box. Stretching the budget was an art form she'd perfected. Nothing open before 9. Nothing stayed open past 6. Sundays, everything closed. Stores, banks, even the gas station. And that was fine, because where were you going to go anyway? What was so urgent it couldn't wait until Monday? Life didn't wait for you, but it didn't rush you either. You had time, actual time, not scheduled time, just time that existed like air. The fall fair preparations begin. The fairgrounds on the edge of town. August heat thick as syrup. Volunteers gathering to build exhibits, repair fences, paint signs. The fair was the town's heartbeat. Everyone helped. Not because they had to, because that's what you did. Mr. Patterson building the livestock pens, hammer in hand, nails between his teeth. Mrs. Chin organizing the baking competition, clipboard and reading glasses, checking who'd enter which category. Teenagers painting the carousel horses, bright colors over chip paint. Kids running errands, fetching tools, carrying boards, feeling useful. The smell of sawdust and fresh paint. The creak of the Ferris while being tested. Someone climbing the structure to oil the gears. Lemonade in glass pitchers. Condensation dripping onto checkered tablecloths. Men in work boots and rolled-up sleeves. Shirts dark with sweat. Women in house dresses and sensible shoes. Hair tied back with scarves. The sound of hammers. Laughter. The occasional curse when someone hit their thumb. No one got paid. No one expected recognition. You just showed up because your town needed you and you needed your town. The 4-H kids preparing their calves and lambs for showing, brushing them daily, walking them on leads, teaching them to stand for the judges. The pride in their eyes mixed with the knowledge that come October, most of these animals would be sold. That was the deal. Love them, care for them, let them go. The ladies' auxiliaries setting up the bake sale tent. Veterans organizing the parade route. Arguing good-naturedly about which streets to close. Your dad teaching you how to use a level. Measure twice. Cut once. The unspoken hierarchy. Who'd been doing this longest. Who knew best. Who to listen to and who to nod at politely. The fair wasn't entertainment you consumed. It was community you created. And in that creation you belonged. Afternoons that stretched forever. Summer afternoons lasted lifetimes. You'd swim at the town pool until your fingers pruned. The diving board's metallic twang. The lifeguard's whistle. Chlorine smell clinging to your skin and hair, marking you for hours after. Play, kick the can until someone's mom called them for dinner. Sit on the curb eating freezies, tongues turning blue and red and purple. Comparing colors, trading flavors. Talking about nothing and everything. Who liked who? What grade 7 would be like. Whether the Leafs had a chance this year. Grass clippings stuck to wet feet. The ice cream truck's tinny music. The same 6 songs on endless loop. Screen doors banging. Mothers calling names. Danny. Supper. Susan. Now. The weight of wet towels. The squish of wet running shoes you've forgotten to take off. Boredom was a gift we didn't recognize. It forced you to invent, to imagine, to connect. No screens to fill the silence. No content to consume. Just you and your friends and the whole afternoon ahead. Making up games with complicated rules no one fully understood. Trading hockey cards on the sidewalk. Evaluating condition. Arguing about value. Building forts from cardboard boxes in someone's garage. The corner store. Penny candy counted out on the counter. Jawbreakers. Licorice whips. Those little wax bottles filled with sugar water. The decision process taking 5 minutes because a nickel could buy 10 pieces, and you had to choose wisely. Your mom not knowing exactly where you were, and that being normal, acceptable, expected even. Be home when the streetlights come on. That was the only rule. The streetlights your curfew, your compass, your call home. We were unsupervised. And somehow we survived. More than survived. We thrived in that freedom to roam, to risk, to figure things out ourselves. If you're enjoying this story, please subscribe to support the channel. Dinner tables and real conversation. 6 o'clock. Everyone home. Everyone at the table. No negotiations. No exceptions. Your dad saying grace, even if he wasn't particularly religious. Bless us, O Lord, in these thy gifts. Words worn smooth from repetition. Your mom serving pot roast or tuna casserole or shepherd's pie. Whatever stretched the budget and filled the bellies. The scrape of chairs on linoleum. Steam rising from serving dishes. The clink of cutlery on plates. Your dad's work clothes smelling of machine oil or sawdust or whatever his hands touched all day. Your mom's hands, worn from washing dishes and wringing laundry and peeling potatoes. The tick of the kitchen clock, the only sound sometimes when everyone was eating. Siblings bickering. Parents asking about your day and actually listening. Your sister complaining about her teacher. Your brother bragging about making the hockey team. You mentioning the fair. Asking if you could help paint the carousel. Knowing the answer would be yes because that's what families did. Dinner wasn't optional. It was sacred. The one time the family was together, present, talking. Not performing for an audience. Not documenting for social media. Just being. Together. Passing dishes around the table. Your dad complaining about work, but never seriously. Your mom's secret worry about the bills. Him behind a smile and a second helping. Learning table manners through correction and repetition. Elbows off the table. Chew with your mouth closed. Ask to be excused. The phone ringing and your mom saying, "We're eating, call back later." And people did. They called back later. Because they understood. Dessert as a reward for eating your vegetables. Jell-O with fruit cocktail. Ice cream if it was on sale. The scraping of bowls. The satisfied silence of full stomachs. We complained about family dinners. Rolled our eyes. Rushed through to get back outside. But we were building something. Roots. Connection. The muscle memory of showing up. The fall fair. Opening night. Friday evening. The fair opens. The entire town converging. The Ferris wheel lit up against the darkening sky. Bulbs chasing each other in circles. The smell of candy floss and corn dogs and diesel from the generators. The tinny music from the carousel. Calliope notes slightly off-key. The barker calling, 3 throws for a quarter. Win your girl a teddy bear. Teenagers in groups, laughing too loud, trying to look older. Families with small children, sticky hands, tired eyes, soaking in every moment. The 4-H kids standing proud beside their animals, nervous about tomorrow's judging. Blue ribbons already hanging on the best pies, the best quilts, the best preserves. Your mom's entry in the baking competition. Butter tarts. Her grandmother's recipe. Fingers crossed. Your dad at the beer tent, talking with men he'd known since childhood. Discussing the weather, the crops, the Leafs' chances. Conversations that meander like rivers. No rush, no agenda. The livestock barns. The smell of hay and animal warmth. Kids in good clothes getting dirty and parents not caring. The prize bull massive and calm. The rabbits in their hutches. The chickens clucking indignantly at the crowds. This was it, the highlight of the year. Better than Christmas because it was communal. Everyone you knew was here. Your teacher buying cotton candy. Your doctor running the ring toss. The mayor flipping burgers at the Lions Club booth. Everyone equal under the fair lights. Kids running wild. Parents trusting they'd be fine. Because everyone was watching. Not surveillance. Just community. If you got in trouble, someone's mom would sort you out and your mom would hear about it before you got home. The town raising its children together. For one weekend, the whole town became a family. Dysfunctional, sure. Complicated, absolutely. But family nonetheless. Saturday, the world in miniature. The parade. Main Street blocked off. The high school band, slightly off-key, but enthusiastic. Trumpets blaring. Tubas booming. The drum majors whistle sharp and authoritative. Veterans in uniform. Back straight despite the years. Faces solemn with memory. Wars they'd fought. Friends they'd lost. The fall fair queen on convertible, waving like royalty. 18 years old and pretending she wasn't terrified. Fire trucks with sirens blaring. Kids scrambling for candy thrown from floats. Pushing and laughing and filling pockets and fists. The smell of horses from the mounted riders. People lining the streets 3 deep, waving flags. Your grandmother in a lawn chair she carried from home, handbag on her lap, commenting on everyone who passed. There's a Miller boy. Grew up nice, didn't he? Is that Sheila Henderson? Looks just like her mother. Pride. Simple, uncomplicated pride. This was your town. These were your people. The parade wasn't professional. It was authentic, and that mattered more. After the parade, the barns. Prize bulls with ribbons on their halters. Champion pigs lounging in their pens. Kids showing their lambs. Tears when they'd have to sell them at auction. Judges examining corn and squash with scientific precision. Debating ear length and color saturation like it was art. Because to them, it was the quiet understanding that this land, this work, fed everyone. Ribbon ceremonies with polite applause. Farmers discussing weather and crop yields. The eternal conversation. City kids touching a cow for the first time, jumping back when it moved. The midway in full swing. Bells and lights in motion. Teenagers on dates, sharing candy apples, hands touching briefly. Little kids on their dad's shoulders, sticky and sleepy and refusing to admit it. The fair showed you what mattered. Community, work, the land, family, simple things, essential things, things we've lost track of. Sunday evening, the last night. Sunday evening, the crowd thinner. Everyone knowing it's almost over. The rides running slower. The vendors packing up, selling the last of everything at discount. 2 corn dogs for the price of 1. That peculiar sadness that comes at the end of good things. The Ferris wheel against the purple sky. The operator letting it run one last time, longer than usual. The ride stretching out. You at the very top with your friends. The whole town spread below. The library. The school. The church steeples. Your house somewhere in that grid of streets and trees. Familiar and small and somehow enough. Lights flickering. Generators coughing. The smell of fried food and trampled grass. Your feet aching. Your pockets empty. The distant sound of the band packing up. Instrument cases clicking shut. Cooler air. Autumn coming, whether you were ready or not. You didn't want it to end. Not the fair. Not the summer. Not this version of your life that felt safe and known. Tomorrow was Labor Day. Tuesday was school. New teachers. New grades. The world speeding up again. But tonight, you could hold on a little longer. Your friends beside you, knowing without saying. The awareness that things were changing. Radios at home playing news of Vietnam, protests, unrest. The world outside getting complicated while you spun in circles above your town, suspended between childhood and whatever came next. But here's the truth no one talked about then. Life wasn't easier for everyone. If you were different, if you didn't fit, small-town life could suffocate. The same closeness that comforted could also judge, exclude, punish. If you loved differently, believed differently, dreamed differently, the easiness had limits. Hard limits. The simplicity came at a cost. Privacy, freedom, the chance to be anyone other than who you were born to be. And for some, that cost was unbearable. Easier isn't the same as better. But God, sometimes we miss it anyway. Monday morning, back to reality. Labor Day morning, the fairgrounds empty. The magic gone. Crushed paper cups and cigarette, but scattered across the grass. The rides being dismantled, loaded onto trucks, men with push brooms and tired faces sweeping. The livestock gone, the barns empty, the town returning to normal, whatever that meant. Silence where music had been, sawdust and spilled soda. The morning after smell of celebration ended. The Ferris wheel in pieces, sections lying on flatbed trucks like bones. Volunteers working quietly, already talking about next year. What went right? What could be better? Everything ends. Every summer, every childhood, every moment of ease. The fair packed up and moved on to the next town. School started Tuesday. Your dad went back to work. Your mom to her routines. Life resumed its regular shape. You helped clean up, earning a few dollars. Finding a lost toy, taking it to the lost, and found knowing no one would claim it. The empty midway. Haunted and strange in daylight. Your town feeling smaller somehow, like you'd outgrown it overnight. The awareness that you were growing up. That next year's fair will be different. You'd be different. Already you could feel it. The pull of something beyond this town. Beyond this life. The restlessness that came from seeing the same streets, the same faces, the same routines, and wondering if there was more. Yes, life was simpler. But simplicity meant limited choices. If you wanted something different, somewhere else, someone to be, you had to leave. And leaving meant losing this. The community, the belonging, the easiness. We traded easier for better. More options, more freedom, more everything. But sometimes, late at night, we wonder if we got the better end of the deal. The long view, looking back. Ask anyone who lived through the 1960s in small-town Canada what they remember most, and they won't tell you about the lack of technology. They'll tell you about time, how much of it there was, how slowly it moved, how present you could be because there was nowhere else to be, nothing else demanding your attention. They'll tell you about knowing everyone's name, about dinner tables without devices, about the freedom of unsupervised childhoods and the confidence that came from limited choices. You couldn't be everything, so you focus on being something, someone, right where you were. But they'll also tell you the truth. That life wasn't easier for everyone. If you were indigenous, the 60s meant residential schools, cultural genocide, stolen children. If you were gay, you lived in fear and secrecy, hiding who you would survive. If you were a woman with ambitions beyond home and family, the doors were mostly closed. If you were poor, the easier life still meant hunger and cold and worry that never stopped. The easiness was real, but it was conditional, available to some, denied to others. And that matters. That has to be said, remembered, acknowledged. But for those who had it, who lived in that small-town bubble where everyone knew your name and showed up for the fair, and gathered at dinner tables, there was something there, something we've struggled to recreate in our faster, freer, more connected world. It wasn't the absence of technology. It was the presence of time, of community, of limits that somehow felt like freedom because you couldn't choose everything. So you chose what was in front of you. And what was in front of you was usually enough. The Ferris wheel turning against a summer sky. The smell of grass and candy floss. The sound of your name being called. Time to come home. The weight of your mother's hand on your shoulder. The certainty that tomorrow would be more or less like today. And the day after that. And the day after that. Until it wasn't. Life wasn't easier in 1960s Canada. It was simpler, slower, smaller. And for all its flaws, for all its limitations, for all the ways it failed people who didn't fit the mold, it gave us something we've never quite recovered. The gift of time. The blessing of boredom. The deep, sustaining comfort of knowing exactly where you belonged. We can't go back. Wouldn't want to, not really, not completely. The world is better now in so many ways. Freer, fairer, more open to different voices, different lives, different dreams. We've gained more than we've lost, if we're honest. But sometimes on late summer evenings when the light hits just right, we remember the screen doors and the street lights, the milk bottles and the dinner tables, the fall fair and the parade, and the whole town gathered together, suspended for one weekend in something we've forgotten how to name. And in that remembering, we carry it forward. The best of it, the easiness that came from presence, from community, from profound freedom of limited choice. Not the exclusions, not the limitations, not the cost paid by those who didn't fit. Just a memory of a time when life moved slower. When time was a gift, not a commodity. When belonging meant something because it was earned through showing up, helping out, being present. A time when life was easier, not better, not perfect, not for everyone. Just easier. And maybe, just maybe, that's worth remembering, worth learning from, worth carrying forward into whatever complicated, connected, overwhelming world we're building now. Because in the end, what made life easier wasn't the lack of technology or the simplicity of choices. It was the presence of each other, the willingness to show up, the commitment to community over convenience. And that we can still choose. Even now, even here, even in this faster, harder, more complicated world, we can still show up, still be present, still choose what's in front of us and call it enough. That's the lesson. That's what we carry forward. Not nostalgia for a past that was easier for some and brutal for others, but the memory of what mattered then and still matters now. People, time, presence, community. The rest is just details. If you like this story, please subscribe to support this channel.